The question of the day is Sony and Naughty Dog in trouble because of this massive leak due to a disgruntled employee? It's pretty much confirmed at this point that a pissed off person, who knows why, it doesn't really matter. He fucked it up for millions of people. The question still remains: is Sony and Naughty Dog in trouble? Well, it's a complicated situation. But don't forget to sub to your boy. Let me know in the comments what you liked or disliked about the video. And let us begin. Let us begin. So, one thing I see on Twitter, other than the massive leaks, because I've seen it all, and if you don't want it to be spoiled, I suggest you not go onto Twitter or anything, or find some kind of blocking media, something to block everything, because this shit is wild. They're putting it in everything, and Sony can't stop it. Naughty Dog actually had like a little release, little press, not press release, but like a little statement regarding it, and there's nothing else to say. Like, it's not like a script leak. This shit is blasted. This shit is open, cracked wide open. This shit is done, and you can't lie. You can't try to fudge it or pretend like it didn't happen. I was wondering what they were going to do, and they can't do anything about it straight up. So they have to admit to it. Basically, if you like the game, if you don't want to be spoiled by it, just make sure that don't go on any social media. Use your blocking tools and stuff like that. But anyway, the question is this: no, yes, and no, right? So Sony is not. I mean, Sony has spent 2 generations building up their empire. 2 generations of unique IPs, which The Last of Us is one of them. Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War series, you know what I mean? They had Gravity Rush, you see it in there. The Last Guardian, a whole bunch of shit. That's what Sony is known for, to present these cinematic experiences. I said this in my other video, straight up. I don't think that any developer should focus on just story. You need a good gameplay. A point in case, right? Metal Gear Solid 2 had a really awesome story, really deep, and a lot of people are kind of psychoanalyzing the story. But it's one of those games that you watch it, you would rather watch than play. You know what I mean? Especially the Tinker was kind of fun. And you can fuck around with the AI and stuff like that. And that was pretty cool. But at the same time, Metal Gear Solid 3 was the actual gameplay with the different bosses and good storyline, or great storyline. Different bosses, different mechanics with the animals, the eating, survival, all sorts of shit that you could do in there. So this is the price that you pay for having such a cinematic game. And I told you guys over and over again, I do not like Naughty Dog for doing this. They used to make open world games. They used to make pretty in-depth games when it came to gameplay, and then for some reason, because they struck it rich with the Uncharted series, they decided to go this route of just creating stories. And now that it's open, wide open, what else do you have? What's the gameplay? But there's some there's some silver lining with this, right? I'm pretty sure. Well, I want to say this before I even go on. Listen, Naughty Dog has actually won this whole generation and last generation without The Last of Us. You need to think about that. They sold probably 110 million without The Last of Us. Have new IPs, all sorts of things going on. So it's not like it's that detrimental. And, I'm not going to say too much. I'm not going to say anything about the leaks. But I know that The Last of Us is supposed to be not like a trilogy or anything like that, but it's supposed to be a world that they could actually exploit in this particular case. A world that is not bound by characters, it's bound by the universe. You know what I'm saying? So you're invested in the universe versus, worry about a character. Like, when you play God of War, you stuck with that character, basically. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of hard to see somebody else without Kratos, but then they still have the gameplay and stuff like that. Whatever. In this particular case, I'm sure his will roll. I'm sure he has a role in Naughty Dog. And it exposes a lot of culture with Naughty Dog as well. I didn't see this type of turnover with any other developer. I mean, I guess Santa Monica Studios, but still, that was because they made shit that, God of War Ascension failed. So I get that. So that's the weird thing about it. Like, it exposed them, like, straight up. Something has to change on their end. It has to change. And it's like they, especially Neil Druckmann, this dude is full of himself, it seems. He is so full of himself. Who knows what he said to this guy to piss him off to do something like that? Say he put his whole job, and I would even say in jeopardy. He's fucking ruined at this point in time. He's never working in the gaming industry again. So there's that. But he must have really pissed them off. And then people need to understand that, yeah, you can't do that. Can't be pissing people off. You know what I'm saying? Can't really do that. Not really. But I've seen this before. I've seen this. I worked for companies that had massive, uh, I wouldn't say leaks, but I will say that, you know what I mean, like compromises is what I want to say. And I've seen them rebound. So who knows? I think Naughty Dog possibly could come up with the co-op and a multiplayer when they launch. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point in time, it's salvageable. You know what I'm saying? And since they're creating the universe, definitely it's salvageable. It has no choice but to be salvageable at this point. You know, and that's something to say about it. Um, and plus people are curious about how the story is really going to pan out. I mentioned this ridiculous example. Yeah, people can read the script and they be like, I don't really like that, but it's different experiencing the script versus playing it. I mean, versus reading it. You know, reading it is different from experiencing it. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned this thing where, if I read about how to have sex, it's not gonna it's not gonna seem very appealing, and as a matter of fact, it's probably gonna seem a little disgusting to actually do it. So there's that. Um, but luckily, even though this game has been leaked, truthfully, and it's in totality at this point in time, and it cannot be stopped. Um, Sony has other games to rely on. People forget there's that Silent Hill remake that's been constantly going on. There's the Blue Point Demon Souls. There's the next God of War. There's the sequel to Days Gone that I'm hearing about. There's Spider-Man, and there's the new information about Horizon Zero Dawn. You know what I'm saying? With co-op and everything like that. They have a lot of stuff in their arsenal for people to say that. You can't sit there and say they're fucked, really, because like I said before, I reiterate, they've won the whole generation without The Last of Us. That was the icing on the cake that somebody spit on at this point. I'm sure you can cut that piece off and still eat it, but it's you fucked it up basically. Um, But this is something that be a wake up call for Sony as well, because Sony wasn't slacking, but they were kind of making a vibe, or this single player shit all the time, and they have people that make multiplayer games, and they weren't really focused on that. They had Killzone, and I think really that's it in terms of multiplayer with the PS4. Um, Uncharted 2, and even that one was kind of botched, if you really ask me. So I was like, I'm not really feeling that, but still, maybe this will show Sony they're gonna have to do better than just story. They're gonna have to do something that's kind of residual. So if this happens in the future, they have something to back it up. Because when you have a game that's based off a story so in its totality, this is the result. This is a huge debacle that is a learning lesson for Naughty Dog, and it's a learning lesson for Sony and any other development studio, straight up and down.